Well, when Armin asked about my past and something about me that no one would know, I came up with this kind of memory of my teenage years and college years, and I thought seemed a little strange. But then, as I thought about it more, I realized that some of those youth culture movements that I was involved in when I was younger really had an element of environmental justice and social justice that really drew me to it. It wasn't just the funny clothes and loud music, but it really ties to what I'm doing today. And my talk today is kind of part of a long journey through my work with Armenia Tree Project, through grad school, so many conversations with scientists and economists, and even personal sacrifices with family during some of our son's best years. So it was really a lot of fun and a pleasure to work with TEDx Yerevan to put this talk together and synthesize so many kind of years of work into a 8-minute talk. So I'd like to raise the issue of redefining our economic systems here at TEDx Yerevan, not only because of Armenia's path of development, but because I know that you all have a belief in our future and in challenging our ways of thinking. What I'll suggest is that a forest has a range of values that's worth more to us than just firewood and building material, and could in fact be worth more than a gold mine. Forests are known to some as a financial asset, natural capital, and a form of green infrastructure. Armenia's forests contain 250 types of trees and shrubs. Most common are oak, beech, and hornbeam. Other widely known trees are pine, poplar, pomegranate, apricot, and I'm sure everyone has their own favorites. Some of the benefits or ecosystem services provided by forests include food products, timber and fuel wood, and regulating carbon in the atmosphere to stabilize the global climate. The South Caucasus is one of the planet's 25 most endangered hotspots for biodiversity. And because of the rare plants and animals here, it's considered worthy of global attention. Forests provide many valuable services that I'll mention in this talk, including habitat for wildlife and protection of topsoil for plants and agriculture. This Caucasian leopard lives in a forest reserve in southern Armenia, and it's on the list of endangered species. And although I love books as much as the next guy, I'm sorry to say that Armenia's Red Book of Endangered Plants and Animals fits in not one but 2 volumes, and it's more than 950 pages long. There's also a link between forests and water resources. Forests provide clean water, protection from flooding, and sites for recreational use. A lot of this takes place at the level of soil and roots underground, which can be difficult to show you in a photograph, but I think you get the idea. So many environmental management strategies aim to protect watersheds like this via the protection of forests. This series of maps shows that forest cover has declined in recent centuries due to unsustainable logging, the use of wood for cooking and heating, livestock grazing, and climate change. Forest cover has gone from 35% to 12% at the last official count, and now to an estimated 7 to 8% based on satellite data. The European Commission initiated a body of research by a large group of scientists and economists known as the Economics of Ecosystems and Biodiversity, or TEB. In their latest book, the authors estimate that the value of ecosystem services from forests like those found in Armenia ranges from $30 to $5,000 per hectare per year. And to put that in perspective, a hectare is an area the size of a European football field. Armenia's forests cover an area of 230,000 hectares, which some consider to be a low estimate. In this case, Armenia's forests have a value that ranges from $7 million per year to more than $1 billion per year, according to the TEB data. Now, some would say the value of forests should not be quantified. However, the downside is that giving them a default value of 0 means they'll be undervalued and overexploited since their benefits are not measured. Others say a forest may have an infinite value since they provide so many valuable goods and services we use that are not bought and sold. In that case, the largest estimates here would be a low estimate of value. So I'd ask you, if the value of Armenia's forests is more than $1 billion per year, is this worth protecting? I'll give you a few examples of how this is tied to our economy. Tourism is important for Armenia's development, and it relies on natural capital as a core part of its business. Recent statistics show that more than 300,000 people visited Armenia in the first 6 months of the year alone. These are just a few companies that have invested here or have some presence here and rely indirectly and sometimes directly on the benefits of forests. Examples of these include shade during hot summers, aesthetic beauty at tourist sites, and habitats for activities like bird watching, which are becoming more popular due to Armenia's geographic location and unique landscapes. Several local and multinational companies have also invested in Armenia's beverage industry, and they depend on reliable sources of clean water. And finally, a landlocked country in a difficult region, Armenia relies on water and hydropower for more than 1/3 of its energy. And again, these strategic and sometimes dwindling water resources can be protected through forest management programs. Now, I'd like to share an example where forest management was used to provide clean water through the use of green infrastructure. The Environmental Protection Agency required New York City to install filtering equipment to provide clean water to its 8 million residents. What they found was that instead of installing a mechanical plant, they could pay to protect a watershed in the Catskill Mountains, which is 75% forested, and save $4.5 billion, along with $250 million in annual operating costs. Now, this case shows us that it is possible to find these win-win or no-regret scenarios where people and business can profit while protecting the planet at the same time. The ideas here about forest valuation and understanding our dependence on ecosystem services is becoming more mainstream, especially among large corporations and in conversations about creating a green economy. I'm suggesting that we can redefine our economic systems to do 3 things. Understand the true value of natural capital and forests. Understand our relationship with nature, both at the individual and at the economic level. And finally, save money by investing in natural capital like forests, which are especially in places like Armenia, where it can be critically endangered. It's really a matter of thinking in the long term about our national wealth, rather than of treating the earth and its resources as if it's a business in liquidation. Thank you very much.
Stefan.